Hi everyone, we're going to sketch a graph of this polynomial here, and first we're going to determine the degree. And since this is not in standard form, all you have to do is just add up these exponents here. So this x has a multiplicity of 2, and this factor has a multiplicity of 1 and 2. Add those up. 2 plus 2 plus 1 is 5. So we have a maximum of 5 minus 1 turning points, which is 4 turning points at the most. We'll talk about end behavior in a minute, except that just know that 5 is odd and that it is positive here. So that's what we'll do in a minute. Our y-intercept is when x is 0. So if you plug in 0 here, you get negative 3, 1 squared. This 0 here just knocks all that out, so that's 0. And our x-intercepts, or our zeros, is when y is 0. So basically, if this is 0, then you have a 0 here, 3, and negative 1. So let's write those down. 0, 0, 3, 0, and negative 1, 0. All right, now let's talk this part where we determine where y is, you say this is where y is negative and where's y positive. We'll do that after we graph it by looking at the graph. So, in behavior, remember it's positive and we have an odd number. So let's look at that. Positive and odd is right here. Our lead coefficient is positive. So our end behavior is this part right here. Now in our case, our degree is 5. And it looks just like this one right here, except that it's flatter in here. If you ever graph the quintic function, it's flatter and then it shoots, it's more narrow as it shoots up. But nevertheless, our end behavior is right here. This is quadrant 1, and this, the starting point, as you graph from left to right, it starts in quadrant 3. All right? And that just means as x gets larger and larger to infinity, so does our f of x, or our y. And as x tends to get smaller and smaller, so does our y. All right. Here we go. Let's graph this. Our y-intercept was 0, 0. And we had 0 at 3, 1, 2, 3, and at negative 1. We're also starting in quadrant 3, ending in quadrant 1. Okay. Now, we're going to look at these numbers here for multiplicity. As we hit, we're going to come up here and graph and hit this negative 1, which is this factor here. Now it has a multiplicity of 2, which is an even number. That means I can't cross the x-intercept here. So I'm going to have to make a U-turn and come back to my 0. I'm not going to worry about my min and maxes here. We're just sketching the graph. Now, when I hit back to 0, which was this piece, we also have an even multiplicity, so I can't cross. So I have to make a U-turn and come back. Then we're going to hit 3. At 3 has a multiplicity of 1, so it can cross. And there we end. Let's see how many turning points we had. 1, 2, 3. We did have 4 total turning points for this. Now, let's determine where our y is negative. And that just means where does it hit below our y equals 0 line here. So it's negative everywhere from negative infinity. It's still negative all the way to 3. So So it's negative from negative infinity to 3. And our y is positive from 3. So right here. Starts here. It goes above the y equals 0 from 3 to infinity here. And that's it. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.